All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation? We are back for another MLB Quick Hit video brought to you by the SHIPIT Nation team. And wow, what a day it was at SHIPITNation.com with Hoop crushing the MMA streets last night. It was a great day for Hoop. It was also his birthday. What a birthday present that was for Hoop. And if you haven't been over to SHIPITNation.com yet, come check us out. The MMA stuff is phenomenal. I'm not a MMA player, but I did go read Title's article on the site, and I must tell you, that's probably one of the best articles I've ever read when it comes to DFS. He absolutely knocks it out of the park, gave you everything you needed to know about all the matches. So, Title, if you watch this, man, hats off to you. That was an incredible piece of writing for you, and looking forward to the next one because I'll certainly be in there now after knowing you can do that. So that was a great article. You and Marley did a fantastic job. So check it out, SHIPITNation.com. $59 a month, $5.99 for the year, and we'd love to have you over there if you're not already there. If you are a member, we certainly appreciate it. Make sure you're hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button. So close to 2,000, and once we do, I know Hoop's going to spend some of that money and have some nice giveaways. But let's get started on today's slate for MLB, and it's another good slate. We have the FanDuel did include Colorado and the Detroit game, so we'll touch on that a little bit. But let's dive in, and we'll start with today's starting pitchers, the top pitchers on the slate. We got another fantastic pitching slate, especially at the top tier. We got three bona fide aces in the Major League, real-life pitchers, DFS, and let's start there. My number one pitcher of the day is none other than Spencer Strider. What else can you say about this man? He's been absolute lights out the last couple starts. Gets a Marlins team that we picked on all year. We picked on him yesterday with Charlie Morton. Mike Soraka did them in on Friday night, and I think Spencer Strider has, the potential, more potential than any other pitcher on the slate. Striking out right-handed hitters over 40% of the time, striking out left-handed hitters 25% of the time. Only facing three lefties today in this Miami lineup, and two of those three are striking out at over a 28% clip. So the price is expensive on both sides. I get that. I certainly understand that with Spencer Strider, but I don't see how you can fade him on FanDuel. I think you need to prioritize him on FanDuel and then fit in the bat somewhere else. It's going to be tough for the other pitchers to reach his ceiling. And if he has a ceiling game, which he could, based on the matchup, based on their strikeout ability, that the Marlins strike out, I think Spencer Strider could hit his ceiling today just based on all those factors going into it. So my preference on FanDuel, get Spencer Strider in your lineup, figure out the bats after that. Same thing with DK. He is 12-8 on DK, which that's a lot of money on DK. But there are ways to get him and some bats in there as well. My number two pitcher of the day, $400 less expensive on FanDuel, and that is Kevin Gausman facing the Boston Red Sox. Gausman has been absolutely lights out the last couple starts. He did have one hiccup a couple Sundays ago against the Twins, but he's a nice pivot off Spencer Strider with a 7.5K prop. Like I said a minute ago, I personally would try to get that $400 more to go get Strider. But if you wanted to pivot off him, he's been lights out his last 30 days, striking out right-handed hitters 34% of the time, striking out left-handed hitters 30% of the time. And I've said it all year long, these Red Sox are not the same team offensively when they're not in Fenway. Obviously, you got the short porch in left field with the monster. You got the short porch in right field as well. It's a much smaller ballpark. And these guys have struggled on the road recently. So we're going to get four righties in the confirmed lineup, five lefties. I don't mind Gausman. It's tough to fit Gausman and Strider on the same team on DK, but it is doable. And I don't think it's the worst idea either, just based on how great these pitchers are and where they're going to be. That's my second pitcher. There are some other top-tier pitchers, Garrett Cole, Ranger Suarez, Andrew Abbott, that I think are all viable plays. I'm not going to dive too much into them right now. We'll talk a little bit about them here in a minute. But the third pitcher that I do want to talk about is none other than 43-year-old Rich Hill for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's like me going out there trying to throw a major league game. I can promise you one thing. You don't want me out there throwing to major league hitters these days. But Rich Hill, the southpaw, I think he can get it done against these Brewers. Christian Yelich, I understand he's a lefty. He's out today, out of the lineup. So that lefty-lefty matchup is gone. And Rich Hill is not like Spencer Strider and Kevin Gausman, where they're going to go out and get you, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Ks. We want Rich Hill to get us a quality start. We want him to get us a win. We want him to get 5 Ks, 5, 6 Ks. It's pretty much kind of his ceiling game for Rich Hill. Want him to get 35 points. Anything over 35, I think, is beneficial. We want him to get 35, and we want Spencer Strider to struggle, if you will, and get 45 to 50, where Spencer Strider and Gausman aren't killing us. But this Brewers lineup has struggled all year long against left-handed pitching. On the season, they are 26. They strike out 26% versus left-handed hitters or left-handed pitchers. Excuse me. So Rich Hill. SP2 is going to be popular, I believe, just based on his price and how high priced the others are. So Rich Hill would be my contrarian pitcher on FanDuel if I wanted to get super cheap with some expensive bats, and then SP2 is a solid SP2 to pair with Gausman or Strider on DK. So just to recap: number 1 pitcher Spencer Strider, number 2 pitcher Kevin Gausman, number 3 pitcher that I talked about, Rich Hill. SP2 on DK is good. Like I mentioned a minute ago, Garrett Cole, Andrew Abbott, and Ranger Suarez would be 3 more that I would consider. I'm just not going there today just based on matchups, price, and other factors as well. But that's it for the pitchers. Now let's move on to my favorite stacks of the day. I'm going to start with these Texas Rangers. And generally, I don't like picking on bullpen games. And this guy for the Astros isn't completely terrible, but this Rangers team at home is lights out. They're dynamite. Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia, Ezekiel Duran has been lights out. Right-handed pitching, they've been dominant at home all season long. Expected ISO for Corey Seager, over 330 for Adolis Garcia. Ezekiel Duran in the 200s. I mean, this lineup up and down, top to bottom, 1 through 9, I think you can play. 8 and 9 kind of get a little dicey with Josh Smith, and Leotis Taveras. But I think you could probably get to Taveras. He generally doesn't get pitch hit for. So really 1 through 8 in the Rangers stack. I understand that the Astros can mix and match with the bullpen game and do more matchups related stuff that way. But I just have so much confidence and faith in these Rangers that they're my number 1 stack on the day. Number 2 stack on the day, going right back to the Philadelphia Phillies. And yesterday, I'll be honest, I did not have the Phillies, and boy, was it not a good. I was a little bit on McKenzie Gore, if you remember, and I was not on these Phillies, and they just tattooed McKenzie in that awful Nats bullpen with no lefties. And I think they do the same thing today with Trevor Williams. Nick Castellanos, my favorite Philly. For the Phillies today, then I would stack around him. Obviously, can't go wrong with Kyle Schwarber. Can't go wrong with Bryce Harper. Alec Bohm went double dong yesterday. Marsh, if he's in the lineup today. I mean, up and down. Trey Turner, power speed combo. I think they get to this Nationals team again. Score 8 to 12 runs again, and they're my number 2 stack of the day. Number 3 stack of the day, and make sure you're paying attention to the weather out there. There is weather concerns in Cincinnati, and as my boy Nade says, the Great American Small Park. Andrew Abbott, he has been scintillating in his first 5 starts, major league starts. They were all in June, kind of coincided with the resurgence of these Reds. It's been fun to watch Reds feeder. They got some great young talent, obviously, and Andrew Abbott had a really good June, but struggles to strike out right-handed hitters, just over 20% clip. And this Padres team has tons of right-handed power. Machado, Tatis, Xander Bogaerts, Nelson Cruz batting down there in the 7-8 hole typically. Kim batting leadoff. Then you got Juan Soto, who they paid a ton of money for, who can crush righties, he can crush lefties, he can crush them all. So with the weather, with the wind blowing out, and with this talent, I'm betting on the Padres today to get semi-contrarian play. I see Tatis is going to garner some ownership, but Really like these Padres stack. That's my third stack of the day. Now for my low-owned stack, and this is not for the faint of heart. We're going Washington Nationals, picking on Ranger Suarez. And listen, I get it. Ranger Suarez has been absolutely lights out. I've been picking on him the last 3 or 4 starts, and it has not gone good for me. But I am not a believer in Ranger Suarez. His price now on FanDuel is $9,800, the most it's been. His price on DK, let's check his DK price. DK price of $8K. So that's a better price on DK. He was $7K his last start, for instance. So he went up $1,000 in one start, which is a pretty significant jump. $9,800 on FanDuel. I'm fading Ranger Suarez, and I'm betting on this Nationals team. Now, I get it. Like I said, the Nationals offense, not very strong, but I'm playing the odds. I'm going to zig when they zag, and I'm going to sell. I'm going to sell high on Ranger. I'm going to bet against them, and I'm going to have a 4-man mini stack or 4-man stack of these Nationals because I just think they're pesky enough. They're gonna dink and dunk, and hopefully Lane Thomas can take one over the fence in right center where the wind's blowing out. So give me this Nationals team as my low-owned stack of the day. Now on to top hitters. Top hitters of the day are going to come courtesy of my favorite stacks. And number 1, Corey Seager. Man, oh man, this guy is an all-star this year. Has had an absolutely lights-out season. It's been phenomenal from start to finish. He has a 346 expected ISO today versus starting pitcher who I know is reliever, won't be there long. But he crushes righties. He crushes lefties. He's had a phenomenal year since he's been back. My number 2 hitter of the day that I'm going to talk about, Adolis Garcia. When we roster Adolis Garcia, we do not want singles and doubles from Adolis. We want him to hit that ball over the wall, and he's done that 20 times this year. I think he does it again today against this Houston Astros starter/bullpen game. My third bat that I want to talk about, it comes from my second favorite stack. That's the Philadelphia Phillies, and that's Nick Castellanos. Went yard yesterday. I think he gets to Trevor Williams today, righty on righty. So I hope the ownership is down a little bit, and everybody flocks to Schwarber and Bryce in the outfield. I know you can play Bryce at first too, but hopefully they play Bryce and Schwarber in the outfield, and they leave Castellanos off. I hope they do because Nick Castellanos is going yard today in Citizens Bank Ballpark. And my last player that I'm going to talk about, $3,100 for Xander Bogaerts batting in the 5-hole. Same thing. You got Tatis that you could roster at shortstop. All right. I'm going Xander Bogaerts at shortstop, batting in the 5-hole today for the Padres. Make sure you monitor that weather in Cincinnati. Make sure they play that game. But those are my top hitters of the day. So I appreciate it. I ran a little long today, got long-winded, but I appreciate you sticking in there with me. On the way out, make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that like button. 100 subscribers away to 2,000. Like I said earlier, Hoop's going to spend some of that money for us, have some nice giveaways at 2,000. For Hamwich8, for ShipItNation.com. I'll see you at the top of the leaderboards. Have a good day.